Welcome, Beat Hirschi, to the podcast, The Hydrogen Leader. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here in Stuttgart. Thank you very much.
Yes, as you know, with this format, we try to share insights in markets and also important businesses. You are running an important business in Switzerland, Hyundai Hydrogen Mobility, and we will unpack that in a bit more detail later. But please be so kind to introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, my name is Beat Hirschi. I'm a Swiss living in Basel, working in Zurich. I've been in the hydrogen business now for almost 5 years. Starting with the hydrogen, first hydrogen contact was 2016, but my background actually is logistics and retail. So
I noticed that in your resume. How come that you moved from logistics to now hydrogen?
Well, long story, keeping short, my former employer, I was responsible for logistics and some procurement issues we've had in zero emission vehicles, and we realized that battery electric will not work for us. So there we started with hydrogen, and talking about hydrogen, and after a certain period of testing battery, we then entered the hydrogen market with an MAN, and were able to start the ecosystem in Switzerland.
So that means basically you came across the hydrogen economy as a viable option for your use case when you were working now the potential customer, because now you have a different role. You are now the CEO of Hyundai Hydrogen Mobility, so trying to find customers, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was in this project leading it from the Coop side, from the retail side, and then
it's a big supermarket.
Big supermarket. Yeah. We realized that our distribution center, there was not enough energy to charge battery trucks in one night.
Yeah.
And then we said, why don't we go for hydrogen, also electric trucks?
Right.
And my predecessor, he started, and after half a year, he was promoted and going back to Korea. And I said, this is a project. This was my baby, and I was like, let's follow the project. And I took over and started in Switzerland, and now rolling out all over Europe.
Right, great. And now being in the hydrogen economy requires, I think, two things, resilience and also a lot of passion for hydrogen. So you came from the use case, but do you have both resilience and passion?
Well, the passion came with the technology. Yes, that definitely is there, and the resilience we need to really have, because we started and had a goal of 1,600 trucks, and
only for Coop.
Well, no, not for only Coop, but for Switzerland,
right?
For this ecosystem in Switzerland, but also for Europe.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't reach that, but we're still working on it, and we believe that we'll get there with some delay, but we will get there.
Mm-hmm. And now you are the leader of Hyundai Hydrogen Mobility, roughly a team of 20 people, I think you told me. As a CEO in challenging times, you also have leadership skills. How would you describe your leadership style?
Well, as a small team, you don't really have to lead people one by one. We have a vision. We have a clear vision from Hyundai. I mean, it's hydrogen for humanity, and there, if you break that down to what we do, basically we're selling trucks, everything which is heavier than 5 tons here in Europe, and this vision, I like to see the big picture, and we need to think not in small steps. We need to see what's in 5, 10, 15 years. And then you break it down to your people, and they have their skills, and then you need to think black and white. What's negative, what's positive, and go the way in between. And
so, bottom, you're a visionary leader, trying to motivate your team, and then trusting on the skills of your team that together you can achieve the vision.
Exactly. I mean, we have from the engineer to the salesperson to the IT guy, finance. We have a Swiss and Korean people. We are a very heterogene team, and I think that is of big value. Yeah. And we have a big discussions and fights internally, but in the end, it's the person who counts, and we deliver. And I think we have proven that in a very challenging environment at the moment. But we're always seeing a way out, and I believe that the qualification of the team is just right. It doesn't have to be bigger. Yeah. It always can be bigger, but I think it's at the moment we're set up quite well.
I think the relevance of your company in particular comes through the backing of Hyundai, right? Because as everybody knows that this is a very global important brand, also important brand for the hydrogen economy. How would you describe the relationship between your company, which is based in Switzerland, and now the global brand Hyundai?
I mean, we are very close to Hyundai. We are 100% daughter of Hyundai. We are reporting to Frankfurt, and we have very close contacts to commercial vehicle in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship is very well. We are challenging our R&D and service people, but we can take a great profit out of the existing Hyundai world when it comes to after sales, when it comes to service, and that's a very important topic. It's not B2C where you basically sell one after the other week by week. Our sales process in the B2B is quite it's like a marriage. It's a long-term relationship, and you need to first build that up. And we come from basically zero. There is no heavy-duty trucks on the road so far.
Yeah.
But we can take a profit out of the whole environment when it comes to legal marketing. So that is quite supporting.
And I know that also Hyundai is very focused on communicating a hydrogen vision for the society. From the outside, sometimes this is a little bit suspicious because you often have the feeling this is a lot of PowerPoint, not specifically with Hyundai. But why do you have the confidence that this company is really going the long way and executing on this vision also globally?
See, the Hyundai brand is whenever you buy a Hyundai passenger car or a Genesis or a Kia, it's basically from the same family. Mm-hmm. Put it that way, it's a big family or a big company. It's 45 affiliates. Then you really you have a brand image to lose when you come with some, so when you let a balloon up, when you let let's say a pilot crash, and we don't do that in the Hyundai group. So there's some projects ongoing in Korea, and once the project really is in a phase where you can roll out, then they're rolling out. At the moment, they're very convinced, and we have a very good and excellent product on the XCIENT, and all the other technologies, the boats, the drones, the liquid and 700 bar, they're either in test or in operation as well, but they are not going to be rolled out such as.
Okay, that's interesting, because what I remember, we were fortunate to have also Seong Kim here, who was the former leader at Hyundai Group when establishing the fuel cell business for a very long time. And what I remember him saying is that sometimes things take a little bit longer, but when the decision is made, you go for it. Like if Hyundai releases a car into a market, it also confirms the ambition to service this car for 10 or 15 years, right? And that gives you also the comfort, if you're now having the task of selling hydrogen trucks, that there is the long-term backing of the global brand Hyundai behind you, right?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we've been founded not just to check whether if there is a market or not. Mm-hmm. We see that we're never going to be a high double-digit number in the market, but in percentage. Yeah. But I believe we will certainly play an important role as a first mover, And we're not only a first mover who's then going to leave. I mean, it's very important. That's why we are also only having at the moment the truck and the bus is introduced. Actually, we are having different technologies being tested in Korea, and as soon as the readiness is given and the reliability is there, then it's a rollout. So there we have a good backup and a good team in.
Two things basically. You mentioned markets, and you mentioned that you report to Frankfurt. So how is this? Are you from Switzerland addressing the entire European market, or which markets are you addressing?
Well, it's basically Europe, but we are looking at the low-hanging fruits. We're looking where the subsidies are. As long as we don't sell thousands of trucks, there is no scale effects, and so we're still having to rely on subsidies.
Still.
And they've been there in Switzerland directly with the street tax, the LSH, which has been exempted. So that has been also the reason why it all started in Switzerland. Then with the BMW in Germany and XCIENT with this subsidy, Germany was a very attractive market. The Netherlands is
it no longer attractive, or is it still?
It's still attractive. Okay. There's an ongoing subsidy call until end of June.
Okay.
So, and we're very confident that we are actually in a very offering with good positioning and offering many trucks to customers, which are then going to be rolled out in the next 2 to 3 years. So it's all of Europe. Italy is going to come. Spain is interesting, but in the end, for the customer, it's the TCO which counts. And then if you go to Spain, where the diesel, it was, I don't know how it is today with Iran, but it was at 90 cents. And then if you go on an OPEX, then you're like 3 times the price, and it does make sense to enter market in that an early stage.
And which countries within Europe are, to summarize, most attractive for your business model?
There's basically two business models. We have in Switzerland, we have the pay-per-use.
Okay.
We're also selling in Switzerland.
Okay.
Since we are a team of 10 in Switzerland, being seen as a regional headquarter, and then we have 10 in Germany, which are taking care of Germany and all other countries. We're supporting Germany, Netherlands, Luxembourg, the Benelux countries. We are in contact with Austria, Austrian customers. We're looking at France. In France, we have 2 employees. We're slowly ramping up. We're not throwing people in a market where we believe it could happen. It's like we want to first see the potential, the demand, sell some trucks, and then slowly grow with the customer. It doesn't make sense to bring nice slides and to, we walk the talk. It's not running too fast. Sustainable growth is important.
This setup also existing from a Hyundai perspective outside Europe, or is Europe the first market which Hyundai is really testing? Do they have also mobility companies in other areas of the world?
Let me correct that. We are not testing. We're not testing the market. Yeah. We're rolling out Europe.
Yes.
That's been a first market in Switzerland.
Okay.
Then there is the US. Certainly, there is some interest. I mean, with actual political discussions, it's been slowed down a little bit. Canada is quite interesting. So North America, South America, we have some business running. Middle East and even in Korea. I mean, in Korea we have over, I believe, 4,000 buses running.
Hyundai buses, yeah. Okay.
And the main market is basically Europe, where we are really now gonna look at a 3-digit number soon.
Right. Okay. So this is good news. So the global brand basically has a focus on Europe, but it's not the only market that it's stressing. It's global. Yeah. You spoke about something interesting. You sell the hydrogen trucks, and the actual model is XCIENT, right?
Yes.
So what type of trucks are you offering? What is the range? Can you tell us a bit about that?
We started with the 4x2, a rigid, which is good for retail logistics in cities. where you usually start with ecosystems, where you come like in a milk run, always touch the same refueling station. That the infrastructure also has to grow. In the past 4 years, we have introduced a new model, the 6x2 with 4 different wheelbases, on which we have a crane model, we have tarpaulin, we have waste trucks.
On one chassis, then
on one chassis
applications.
Yes, different applications. So there are 100 cities in Europe which are having like an inner circle where you're not allowed to enter with the diesel anymore. If you do, you have to pay like €250, like in the Netherlands, or 250 euro per day to be able to go with a combustion engine into the inner city. So that really supports us in that rollout. We this year or last year we have announced the bus. In Korea, the buses are 11 meter. In Europe, it's 12 meter. 3-door. In Korea, it's 2-door. Maybe the discipline is a bit better in Korea with in and out. But here in Europe, you have like 20 to 30 seconds where the bus must stop, and so you need 3 doors to get the people in and out. So a bare chassis, so that the base technology has been developed, and we have introduced a bus last year, first half last year, which is basically running for Wiener Linien. So we are with this bus in different tenders, and are looking forward to have that rolled out as well.
And so that would be selling this type of vehicle, but you also mentioned this pay-per-use. Can you explore a little bit on that? Because I could imagine if you talk to a fleet owner, probably he first wants to try the technology. Is that, let's say, your offer to the market to give customers an easy way to try the technology, or what are you actually offering there?
We're selling trucks, not trying to be a leaser. At the moment, the team is too small. Why did we start with a pay-per-use in Switzerland, where the customer really pays per mile, per kilometer, one price, including the hydrogen.
Oh, including that.
Including the hydrogen. That was unique because when Hyundai approached in 2018-19, I was then on the customer side. When they approached us, they said, we have a new truck. It's a Hyundai. It's technology is new. Where's the after sales doing? There's no infrastructure. We or customers were not ready to take that risk. And they were, having now then the chance if a truck is down, they don't pay.
Yeah.
This pay-per-use was good to start to initiate the project, but it does make sense to a certain extent. But at the moment, I think the Swiss model was good to start, and we have proven the reliability, and there's no need for.
Now you go for normal sales.
Yes.
Okay.
There is leasing companies such as Hylane, TIP, which are interested. Others do rent them out.
So they buy the truck from you and then lease it to their customers.
Yes.
Okay.
That's just because some customers are hesitating, saying, "Well, I want to just test and try." But most of the customers who take one truck over, they're not complaining about the truck. They're more concerned about the infrastructure, the price. What's the price of the hydrogen today? What's the price of the hydrogen 2, 5, 10 years down the road? That's the main question. Our trucks, when we hand that over, we get a very positive feedback. It's a very reliable technology. Maybe also because the whole chassis, the whole frame, the whole technology, Hyundai has 27 years experience. We have over almost 400 million kilometers with the fuel cell, and certainly over 22 million in heavy duty. And that gives us confidence and also to our customers. The challenge still is the infrastructure, which is we can after signing a contract, the truck basically runs after 6-7 months. Infrastructure, if you sign a contract for infrastructure, it takes 18 to 24 months.
Yes, unless you already have the ecosystem.
Yes. That's what we're working together with the existing partners like Tisca, Hydrogen Mobility, Thiel. They're all there, but if you ask a logistic operator, it's never enough when you're looking at the refueling stations.
And you mentioned that this infrastructure is one of the things holding you back. So what would be the positive case where you can win customers easily, and where do you really struggle because certain things in the ecosystem is missing? So what would be the best situation where you can say, that's easy, I can make a sale, or where you say, or in that region, it's really problematic because XYZ is not yet there?
Well, see, we have to come away from us only selling a truck, and that's what also made me moving away from my former position in the logistics, going to selling a truck. It's basically not selling a truck. We always have to think about ecosystem. We have to consider a refueling station. When a customer wants to buy a truck, it really wants to buy a truck, we are not selling a truck if there's no infrastructure, if there's no hydrogen available, whether it's gray, green, whatever color. It's the interest of the whole of building up the whole ecosystem. So what is it? What is in the best case is when you have customers, when you have infrastructure player, when you have a producer, everybody sitting at the same table and discussing the way forward. I think that makes a difference. It's not.
It's more a partnership.
It's a partnership. Everybody wants to make money. The customer, the end customer, sometimes gets a bit lost in this whole discussion, because when you're in a bubble, you're all positive about it. But when it comes to TCO, at the moment, we are just not there yet.
Mm-hmm. But you have a bigger fleet. How big is your fleet? So you make sales. So you must be doing something right.
Yeah. On a very slow flame or a small flame, or on a low numbers. But we are having about 160 trucks we have sold. Some of them are in operation. Some of them are in the upfit process. See, when you have a tractor, which is announced for 29 from our side, when you have a tractor, you import it. It's ordered, imported, and then you put it on the street, and like after 3 months, it's running. After 3 months, our rigid is here, and then based on the rigid, the upfit, the bodybuilder will take 2 to 6 months in the worst case to build that truck up and then put it on the street. So we have sold 160 units, and we have another 3-digit number in the pipeline now with the BMW call, subsidy call. Also for swim, we are very, very positive. So the line in Korea, which could produce like a 4-digit number trucks per year, the line is waiting for the orders. So we are ready, I would say.
Okay. You mentioned the feedback of customers, and I think we have had many guests who are building technology, but I think you are very close with the customers. What are you hearing from the customers after they had the chance to use your trucks? Are you seeing cases where they say, yeah, it was good 2 years, but we decided otherwise? Or would you see that those who stepped into the hydrogen economy for certain reasons are happy with it and grow in the hydrogen economy?
Well, most of them, they're testing our truck for a certain time, 2, 3, 4 years, and we have not discussed about the residual value and all that, but most of them they're happy. They're not. The intention is not to give the truck back.
Okay.
There's also no other real product, comparable product, where they could switch from one hydrogen
for that hydrogen use case.
For that hydrogen use case, yeah.
Okay.
In the end, it all comes down to that we have to build up. We have to bring more trucks. Not only us as Hyundai, but also other OEMs here in Europe. We have to bring more trucks to enable the infrastructure to be not profitable, but not making these big losses. So our customers, I would say they're happy. There's always, as I said, there's always a reason to not complain, but to see it a bit on a critical side, and that's where you look at the infrastructure, where you have then this information that some refueling stations are going to be closed. But the reason behind why are they closed, it's because maybe it's in a city area where there's a school close, and when you all of a sudden all of a sudden arrive with a big truck.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. Because the infrastructure in Germany is quite good with 100 refueling stations, but they're built up for passenger cars.
Yeah.
And if you arrive with an 18-meter truck, it's not always appreciated, I would say.
Are your trucks running on 350 bar or 700 bar?
They're running on 350 bar.
Okay.
The reason for is if you use 700 bar, you have double the pressure, you have more weight. Today, maybe tomorrow, it's different.
Yeah.
For only 40% more range. And if you're driving an average of 67, maybe 70 kilometers, which is fast already, then you by law have to have a break after 4 hours anyway. And with the off-year idea, with the infrastructure, then you just stop and refuel the truck within 12 minutes.
So I feel for those who are not, this is this upcoming alternative fuel regulation, right? Which foresees also a minimum coverage in hydrogen refueling. Is that correct?
Yes, that's every 200 kilometers that you have to have a charging a possibility for either battery or battery electric or fuel cell.
And that is a positive force coming, and you're confident that this will support your business.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is. Maybe it's a bit sporty. Maybe it will have to give us a bit more time, but it's at least there's a vision behind. Why don't we go for 7, or why did we not go for 700 bar in the past? Is because we believe the 700 bar is a bit more expensive. When the hydrogen kilo price is on 20 euro per kilo. Yeah. Then maybe 1 kilo extra for the compression and cooling for 700 bar doesn't count. But when we are down on 6-7 euro, 1 euro still local energy is then a much bigger factor. Important to know is that our future trucks in 29, they will have a dual receptacle. So we'll have the opportunity to go for like 450, 500 kilometers with 350 bar, or go up to 750 kilometers with 700 bar. It all depends. The main driver of the consumption is the driver. In the end, the topography and the payload. I mean, if you go for 42 tons and have a sporty driver, you might end up with 600 or 550 kilometers with 700 bar. But we have both technologies. We also have tested liquid, and maybe the application is one day ready. I would not see that in a penny business such as logistics. That's
okay. But if a customer would now insist on 700 bar, would you be able to deliver such a truck, or is now the standard model 350?
The standard at the moment, the 6x2 and the 4x2 rigid, they're 350 bar. That's proven, and I believe that that is enough at the moment, because you don't, even though the hydrogen is seen as going from Sweden to Spain and back, and the battery is more for regional logistics, that's maybe the past. Even though this is the discussion, we have to start in little ecosystems. Yeah. That's what we're doing, and therefore 350 bar is sufficient. In 29, 700 bar is available as well on our tractor.
Okay, but what I found interesting, because we also had an interview with the CTO of MAN, and he was making the argument that because under the regulations, drivers need to pause after 3 hours, it's a battery case. Now you're sitting here saying we don't need this long ranges, therefore 350 is enough because drivers have to rest anyhow. It's a hydrogen case. So how does this fit together? Why are customers choosing hydrogen trucks compared to battery trucks, which is already out there as well?
See, it's. I would not say it's one or the other. Okay. It's we're coming out of 100 years diesel. It was quite easy. The fossil was there. You go at the pump and you refuel the truck within minutes. Huh?
Yeah.
We're trying to get that out of the market. The electric community, and there's a battery electric community and a fuel cell or hydrogen electric community. So I would see in the future, anyway, in the future you will have synthetic fuel, you have bio, you have maybe even diesel still, but you also have battery and fuel cell electric. And I think it's not one or the other. I think it's a complementary. You have use cases where the battery is best or better, and then you have use case where you have big distribution centers with a lot of energy consumption already, where you cannot recharge your trucks, and then maybe hydrogen is the option you can go for.
Right. Coming back to the topic that you are in Switzerland and from Switzerland, and we really appreciate you're our first guest here from Switzerland. So there was this special incentive model in Switzerland, and I found this always interesting because many years I had the feeling, oh, look at that, in Switzerland, it's working. Can you once again tell us a little bit what is actually the incentive scheme in Switzerland? And why was it so attractive to start there?
Well, first, we had a sponsoring association of 21 customers, which some of them had as a customer operating trucks, also operating a refueling station. They had like Coop Migros, you have Agrola, Landi. They have not only logistic operation but also refueling station. They committed themselves to go green, to go zero emission. They said, yeah, we are in a market, in a closed market. It was just a national logistic. It was not international, so it was a very national approach. And they all agreed to start that with an OEM. Then some project leaders went out to see who could do it, and Hyundai was already there with the hydrogen competence, and then within 2 years, Hyundai brought the fuel cell from the passenger car into a truck. There are now 2 fuel cells in our truck, and it really runs. There's no issue.
And the government saw this industry initiative, and after seeing that there was this coalition of the willing, they created afterwards an incentive.
No, the incentive, the street tax exemption was there already.
Okay.
So for battery and the fuel cell electric trucks, they don't pay a street tax.
Right.
And if you drive 100,000 kilometers, it's about 90,000. Depends on the payload you're calculating. But
if you use diesel.
If you use diesel, you pay 90,000 street tax.
Right.
And if you don't, then you have this. So that was an indirect subsidy given on this exemption.
So basically, if I understand it correctly, it was not sourcing money; it was exempting certain type of vehicle from costs they would otherwise have.
Yes.
And then you have the company saying we can save a lot of money every year, 90,000 euros or so, and that would create a potential business case for the new technology.
Yeah, well, the business case wasn't that we were able to really save money. It's still it's a higher cost than a diesel truck, because the hydrogen is still was higher than expected because of the energy crisis, and the energy prices went from 35 cents up to 80, 90, 1 euro or Swiss franc in that period. So the hydrogen went up, the price went up, and the trucks were still in this first generation. They were still quite expensive. So that supported the start of that project.
Yeah, okay, because oftentimes you mentioned also these calls in Germany. This is a very lengthy process, right? But what Switzerland did is it created an exemption scheme without lots of filings to be made. Yeah. And that's much faster in the adoption, because if you find a business partner who wants to run a fleet that is exempt, there is no approval from the government required. Yeah. You are exempt, basically. Yeah. And that's, I think, the speed which comes with this, right? That's
why we believe that is key to roll out fast. In Germany, we highly appreciate the 80%, but last year it was quite a silent year. Everybody was waiting for it. Yeah. And now we've had like 3 months, which is then I would not say stressful, but in a very short period of time, we had to or have to now get customers on board. We have to explain them. And again, it's not selling a passenger car. It's you have to build up a relation. In the end, we are standing here straight for a product, not only for 2 or 3 years, but for eight or more years.
And so I really believe that this regulation must allow business decisions and should not request always these public funding approval, because this takes way too long, right? And individuals can make their decisions whether it makes sense. Coming back to it, you mentioned many regulations already. I think there is also in Europe this requirement for truck manufacturers to somehow migrate into more a zero-emission fleet, right? And I am not an expert in this, but what my research says is that by the year 2040, truck manufacturers need to have 90% zero-emission vehicles. And you have every 5 years strengthening this requirement. Is this also something that is affecting strategic decision-making? And are you seeing that customers are, in light of this upcoming European regulation, trying to migrate into a better fleet?
There's a political discussion ongoing.
Okay.
I mean, this reduction trajectory path that's existing. I mean, the 15% by 25 is been reached by, let's say, half of the European OEMs. Some have saved some credits. It's per ton gram 4,250 which they would have to pay. So that has been reached more or less. But if you look at 2030, 2032 with the reduction goal of over 40%, I don't know if the customer who's buying a truck really realizes or maybe ignores, because if you look in the passenger car, also 25, there has been a limit, and that has been now spread over 2 years, 25, and the average 25 to 27. So you don't want to kill the European truck business, and that's a bit. I don't know if this decision will also be taken for this reduction goals, if that's been softened or been delayed. And I don't hope so, because we would be ready to sell those trucks, the zero emission. But I think it's the goals are set quite tough, and I think would not say they are unrealistic, but it's for European OEMs it's quite challenging. Actually,
so it's directed to the OEM and not to the fleet operator.
It's not. Well, the fleet operator in the end has to pay the price for it, because either OEMs sell more zero emission trucks, which they are doing, and the zero emission, the battery electric, they run well. Again, I'm not bashing on that. They're products of all the European OEMs. They're just fine. Mm-hmm. They could even sell more. I'm not talking about the raw material, which is maybe not available. The battery, which is not going into that. The battery trucks are quite good product. There's a big but. Everybody ignores the energy. It's like a fresh product. It's the energy when you plug in. You need to have the energy immediately. And when you unplug it, then you don't need the energy anymore. And if it's dark, no wind, and you all of a sudden plug in 20 trucks, where do you get the energy from? It's not stored. So, the challenge is there's a limit. That's one topic, a limit of the available energy. Yeah. And then if you would want to electrify all the stations, the gas stations, or where the trucks stop, if you want to electrify that, if you look at 2030, and if you look at the time to get the energy and on these truck stops, it's completely not in line. I mean, 2030 is in 5 years. It's in 4 years actually. And to get the energy, the electric energy megawatt charging on those truck stops, it's taking more than 10 years.
Right.
Because all the political discussions and who wants to, I mean, this is a really big challenge. So that's where I see hydrogen as a complementary or one solution could solve.
Yeah, I think there was also an initiative because building the electric grid for the future costs, I think, 120 billion. And I think there was a big initiative of many vehicle manufacturers saying, hey, it makes sense to reduce the friction for the electric grid. Let's build the hydrogen infrastructure in parallel. It's much cheaper, right? And okay, so
maybe in the end not cheaper, but you can store energy. You can transfer the energy from the morning in the evening.
Yeah,
you don't have.
It's balancing.
You balance and you don't talk about summer to winter.
Yeah,
we're not there yet, but it's definitely storable, transportable, which where you have in the battery electric mobility, you don't have that. But I mean, again, I'm not against that. It's we need to find a way to ramp up both.
Actually, that's a good summary, because I think you are now in this business for more than 5 years. And obviously, I'm interested now not only to hear the problems, basically, but how we can grow this. So what is your professional view? What is working well, and where do we have to improve to speed everything up a little bit? Because I think also the geopolitical shakeups that we are seeing globally are showing that we need to be more resilient.
What does work well is we are the hydrogen economy, or the hydrogen bubble, I would call it like that, from infrastructure producer to OEMs. I think we're still a small family, even though there are many players in it. And it's not only Hyundai with the infrastructure. There's also all the European OEMs which are actually actively testing not only battery, bringing on the road, but testing hydrogen to be rolled out by the end of this decade. So that works quite well. I mean, the exchange it's all legally correct.
Yeah, so it's a collective effort to build this industry.
To build up an industry, to build up the ecosystem. That quite works well.
Okay.
You're mentioning the geopolitical challenges. I would say it's more the approach what we are having is more long term. I think the war, even Ukraine, nobody ever thought that will take that long. Iran is not solved, I heard. I don't know, yesterday or the day before.
It's like something, but how sustainable we will see.
Let's see. I mean, but let's say that's a 5-year plan. We're talking about 10, 20 years. So I'm not too concerned that this will affect us. Yes, it will affect the supply maybe of oil or gasoline. Yeah. But that's what we want to get rid of it anyway. So
you're playing confidently the long game. That's what you're saying.
Definitely. And with the big mother company, we're in a very good position to also, if we don't sell 1,000, if we're only selling a couple of hundred, or maybe only 50, then that's maybe not the best year. Yeah. But we are going from year to year. We have a long-term strategy. And when we run out of cash, we have a strong mother, hopefully, who will support us in the future, because there is a commitment there.
Yeah, I think that is also this Asian business culture, right? If there is a strategic direction agreed upon, you go for it and not evaluate every year whether it was correct to go that right. Yeah, so this is a good thing. Coming back to this geopolitical shakeups a little bit, because what I experience is these geopolitical shakeups, they have relevance for the personal life, right? We are all affected, but we cannot do anything about it. Oftentimes you hear then in the news, we need to be more sovereign, more independent. Is that only a call to action for the governments to ensure that, or are you seeing also business leaders reflecting on the situation and then calling you and say, hey, Beat, I heard you offer something else than diesel. Let's talk. So are also business leaders reflecting and trying to be more independent and more resilient because of these shakeups?
Yeah, there's certain discussions. Yeah, in the end, at the moment, it's challenging. The whole economy, I would not say is crashing, but it's down.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it all comes down to TCO and with the investment cycles, with the subsidy cycles. Yes, there is at the moment quite a high demand all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But by end of June, and the call is finished, then I believe my phone doesn't ring that often anymore. It's just at the moment we have the unique opportunity to get subsidized.
Right.
The interest is there from on a board level on to go green, the zero emission. That's a very important topic. Scope 1, 2, whatever that's been discussed. When you come on an operational level, the pressure on reducing cost year by year to be more efficient is alive and is not getting easier. I mean, if you're looking in logistics is a penny business. It's you don't have margins to give away just to go zero emission, and the end customer is not willing to pay. I mean, we discussed that earlier. For groceries, the groceries get more expensive, not because of hydrogen or battery electric mobility. They're getting more expensive because of the global impact. And then having on top of that more cost, that's just a challenge. So we have to find scale effects to roll out and lower the prices in CapEx and OpEx, so in all elements.
So before the Iran conflict, Steven and I, we have been also to Dubai and talked to many business leaders who are producing hydrogen, and they don't have this vehicle strategy, but they are looking for Europe and want to bring green hydrogen in a lot of quantities also in the coming years. And we see these projects in the Rotterdam port, in Hamburg, also local hydrogen hubs, which have been supported by the European Union, which are now up and running. So I think there is also hope available that in certain areas there will be cheaper hydrogen available, bringing down the operation costs for your trucks, right? So I think the real power of this economy comes when everything comes together, right? When we have not only very regional spots, but many regional spots that are connected or bigger regional spots, then it's probably easier also to scale up the mobility business. Okay, so we have talked your business. We have talked about you as a leader. What you have not shared is, let's say, the secrets that you might see, because I think what I like about the hydrogen economy is this helping mode. And helping mode means that people are sharing also insights. So can you share some valuable insights that also might help other business leaders in their hydrogen business, how to advance it a bit?
Well, there's not a whole lot of secrets, because there have been a lot of evaluation, a lot of work being done. I think I would not say a secret. Again, it's more a learning, or what I always then stand up and ask the people is it's nice you meet, you have the German Hydrogen Association, you have a hydrogen meeting there, and out of 50 or 100 people, you find 80 people who are fully motivated for hydrogen, but they are from either the production infrastructure side or OEM, it's a daily work. We don't, and I think again, no secret, but we are a bit blind and not inviting the potential customers
who are buying the technology,
who are buying the technology, who are to be trained to be, that they see what we are doing, that they see what is behind. I once said, let's when we have a meeting like 40 hydrogen enthusiasts, if everybody takes one or two customers with, then we would have maybe a discussion. And even if they're negative in the beginning, we might be able to convince them. And if not, then we at least have had a discussion. So we need to involve the end customer.
So out of the bubble into the economy.
Yeah, that's what we did in Switzerland.
Right.
We started with with this sponsoring association.
Yeah.
The end customer, we started at the end customer.
Right.
And I see that there is a lot of development, a lot of genius working on refueling station, on infrastructure, whether it's a pipeline or containers. And then there's the discussion about, is it blue, white, green, transparent, or gray hydrogen, whatever color. And you completely forget about, and it's not even only about the one who's buying the truck, but you also have to see, when you have a truck operator, he potentially works for Rewe or Edeka.
Yeah.
And Edeka has then another end customer, and this end customer is you and I. We are buying the butter. We are buying. Are we interested to pay more just because it's been zero emission? At the moment, you need to involve the whole chain from there's a word, so from field to fork.
Yeah.
And that thinking, I think, is missing, or getting a bit ignored, because we are so enthusiastic about this great hydrogen economy.
So we need to basically start with the customer. That's your call. It's always a good call. This is also what we do at Highfinder, by the way. So I want to follow up on one topic that we have not talked about. So both of us are already a little bit older and we made a career, but also many young people who are interested in the hydrogen economy are listening to us. So always good how you are now the CEO of an important company, backed by an important OEM, and probably not everything worked in your career, but something worked. So what can you share if somebody wants to have a successful career like you? What would you recommend to a young person being interested in the hydrogen economy?
Yeah, first it's thank you for the words. I mean, being a CEO of 20 people, in the end, I'm a salesperson, and I'm leading a team of 20, and the title is being given. So, being a CEO of a UBS or a Hyundai Hydrogen Mobility, that's a completely different story.
Yeah.
What I in my you call it career, my way to where I'm at today, what I did is I changed the side. I started in logistics. I did study logistics. I did contract logistics, transport logistics. Then I decided to go on the other side. I was then responsible for procurement, logistic procurement, international logistics. So all of a sudden, I knew how logistics works.
Yeah.
I think I knew how it works. And I was the guy who's buying the logistics service. So you need to get out of comfort zone. You need to take some risk, but also have to. I mean, I was 20 years with the logistic company. Then I was 10 years with retail, in this retail. And then I completely stepped into a new segment again in this hydrogen. I mean, yes, in 2016, 17, we already were having
but your role was
different. And then all of a sudden, I'm now selling trucks. I never would have thought that. You need to take a risk. You need to be resilient. Don't give up too fast. And it's difficult when I talk to my sons. Take risks. As a father, you tell them, don't take risks. You better work in a job and get old and be on the safe side. But if you really want to move something, you sometimes need to get out of your comfort zone. I think that's important. And what I did is I said in my last step before I go to pension, I don't know how long that will take. Hopefully another couple of years. I said I want to do something for zero emission, because I really think we
with purpose,
something where we have an effect. And you only can be once a first mover, and being in this first mover position really makes me proud. And I think also that keeps the spirit up in the whole Hyundai Hydrogen Mobility team.
Yeah.
We're fighting for it every day by day, and we're facing customers, and the problem a little bit is that we do understand the customers too much, maybe from time to time, because who wants to buy a truck which is 3 times the price? And what's the future? What's the hydrogen price of the future? And these discussions, they're quite demanding. But again, it's like a little bit the spice in the soup. If you want to have an accountant job till you're 65, then it's fine. That's not what some people are made for that. but I think what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's a bit.
This is great. And what comes into my mind when I was visiting China, and there was this entrepreneurial event, and their motto was embrace the challenge to be first. And I think this mindset would be somehow good for Europe as well, because we like to play safe. And what you have told us here and our listeners, that playing safe is hard to grow, right? And building the hydrogen economy is a challenging job. Being a first mover is a challenging job, but you can grow and you can learn. And that is what you have in your own experience booking as something to remember, as an interesting task. I really enjoyed this, and also switching sides. I think it's a very nice move of you. Thank you for all the insights that you shared.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And if you like this format, please subscribe to our channel. It helps us a lot to bring interesting guests like Beat today. Thank you for watching.